Gabriel Kane is a thin, pale man in his early 40s with dark circles under his eyes and messy black hair. He wears an old gray coat and fingerless gloves. His voice is slow, cracked, and unsettling. Every word feels heavy, as if dragging through a memory he wishes to forget. A dim lantern beside him casts long shadows across his face, making his hollow cheeks and haunted eyes look almost skeletal. Inside the abandoned cabin, Gabriel Kane sits near a dying fire, his voice echoing through the rotting walls as rain taps against the broken windows. The camera pans slowly around the circle of listeners, showing their anxious faces while Gabriel Kane begins his story about the cursed woods of Black Hollow. The lantern flickers, and a cold wind snakes through the cracks, making the flames shudder. Gabriel Kane leans forward, his hollow cheeks catching the firelight. "They say the spirit doesn't just watch," he whispers. "It listens." The sound of creaking wood grows louder as the listeners exchange uneasy glances. Outside, thunder rumbles as though answering his words, and the camera zooms in on his haunted eyes. The story deepens. Gabriel Kane describes a traveler who stayed one night in Black Hollow and was never seen again. The listener's breathing becomes audible, and one of them glances nervously toward the window. The fire dims further, casting the cabin into near darkness. Shadows begin to crawl across Gabriel Kane's face like living things. Gabriel Kane pauses, his cracked voice trembling. "But sometimes," he says, "the traveler comes back." His thin, pale fingers tighten around his gloves. The wind howls outside and faint whispers echo from the corners of the cabin. A candle sputters out, plunging half the room into darkness. The camera focuses on his expression, calm, almost resigned. Lightning flashes through the broken window, illuminating Gabriel Kane and the frightened faces around him. The sound of dripping water from the roof syncs with the tense silence between his sentences. Gabriel Kane continues, describing the spirit's eyes, hollow, white, and endless. The listeners can almost see them reflected in the lantern's glass. Gabriel Kane raises his head slowly. "It always appears when the fire begins to die," he murmurs. The camera pans to the embers, now weak and trembling. The whispers grow clearer, faint voices calling names. One listener grips the edge of his chair, another starts to cry silently. Gabriel Kane's hollow eyes glimmer with something between fear and recognition. The rain stops abruptly. Only the faint creak of the cabin remains. Gabriel Kane, pale and motionless, stares into the shadows. His voice lowers to a near whisper. "That's when it knows you've heard enough." The camera moves behind him, showing only the darkness beyond his shoulders, thick and endless. The final ember fades. Gabriel Kane's face is lit only by the faint moonlight through the window. The listeners sit frozen, their faces pale, their eyes wide. He ends his tale with a chilling line, and if you listen closely, you can still hear it breathing. Silence fills the room. Too heavy, too real. In the last moment, a low growl vibrates through the floorboards. The camera shifts to show the reflection in the lantern's glass, a shadowy figure standing directly behind Gabriel Kane. His hollow eyes widen slightly, and the screen cuts to black, confirming that the storyteller's tale was not fiction. The entity he described has appeared behind them.